What internal mindset shifts did you have to make you lead at the top of global media?
Well, you have to recognize that you're not going to know everything going into roles and opportunities. And so the mindset is you can't have imposter syndrome. You really need to go in recognizing some of it you're going to learn on the job. Some people might say flying the plane while changing the engine.
Wow.
At the same time. And I recognize if I had the confidence going in and the humility to know that I didn't know everything, everything was going to be okay. So it's leaning on your colleagues, leaning on those around you to make sure that each of you brought the best of what you knew to each situation so that you could get the best outcome.
So in that same context, because I've interviewed now a few people, and I'm discovering, especially those who operate in excellence, become the only, and representation at the top really matters. So what does it mean to you to be a Black executive in spaces where culture is produced and power is concentrated?
Well, I think the important thing is I've had an opportunity to work where I was the only, where I was one of few, and then where like at BET, where I was one of many. And each of those environments required the same level of bringing the best of what you could bring to the situation. Obviously different working in a room where you look around and everybody looks like you than working in a room where hardly anybody looks like you. But you had to bring excellence to the table each time. And I think in situations where you knew you were one of few or the only, you had to figure out a way to build a pathway to bring others along.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Look, I want to just move our questions to basically strategic leverage in motion. In this context, you've managed billion-dollar portfolios. What's one leadership principle that consistently gave you an edge when making high-stake decisions?
You have to research.
Wow.
You have to really understand what is a win for the person across from you. Typically when you're doing deals, in my instance, to launch channels in countries where you've never lived or you may not even speak the language, it was about understanding what was a win for that person across from you, what was a win for your company, and representing in that room the best of both. Being willing to give, not being too rigid that you couldn't give on a deal point, but also standing firm and true to the things that mattered to giving your company the win. And so to me, that was really all about walking in that room with the right mindset and perspective as to you're not going to walk out with everything that you want. But if you can meet somewhere in the middle, everybody's going to be happy in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on something I think that's a underutilized leadership principle when you said research. I know I've had several meetings across the aisle of various socioeconomic and ethnic groups, and when I meet with them, I come to the meeting, they already know who I am, what I bring to the table, what kind of gifts, skill sets that I have. And it's amazing because we don't do that naturally. We assume that if we do it, it makes us look vulnerable or eager, or use the common vernacular of children, thirsty.
Right.
But they do it because that's a part of the advantage. And for you to say that, I think is not only a great tool for those who are listening to this Leverage Factor podcast, but to hear what this giant just said, you have to research.
Let me actually double down on research. Because I think when you say research, I think people think, okay, I'm going to try to do a deal with a particular company, but you're really doing a deal with the person. The person that is going to represent the company.